So I had an alcohol addiction for nearly 10 years, and I'm not kidding when I tell you it felt like I had a hijacked brain. One part of my brain would really want to get this issue under control. I hated that I was a heavy drinker. I hated that I didn't have control when I drank. I hated the things I did and said when I was drinking excessively. But then there was another powerful part of my brain that was really driving this behavior, and it felt like it was beyond my control. That part of my brain would obsessively think about alcohol. It would crave it. If I didn't have it, it would look for it. It was constantly planning my drinking sessions, looking forward to drinking, not going to places if there wasn't alcohol there. And just really, I would experience this internal dialogue of one part of my brain that really wanted to drink and another part that was trying to resist the urge constantly. And the challenge for me is that I tried to quit drinking dozens of times over the course of a 10-year period. I could make it a couple of weeks or a couple of months into the outside world. It looked good. Like I wasn't drinking. I was sober. I was in recovery. Things were going well. However, on the inside, that dialogue was just going crazy, and I was so mentally preoccupied with drinking. And in the back of my mind, most of the time, I was like, I know I'm going to drink again one day. It's just a matter of when, because that mental chatter and that preoccupation is just incessant and it wouldn't go away. But I've learned so much over the last 6 years since I started on the Sinclair Method treatment protocol and really worked to reverse the alcohol addiction in my brain. And what I've learned is that the reason that my brain was craving the alcohol is because when we develop an alcohol addiction, it changes our brain. And what also happens when we quit drinking is that when we're dependent on it, our craving for it actually increases because we are addicted to the pleasure and the reward that comes from alcohol. So even though a part of me, the real me, would want to get this problem under control and sincerely try to moderate or quit my drinking, there was a very powerful primitive part of my brain that was driving the addiction onward, no matter how much I tried to control it. But this is also why the Sinclair Method was such a powerful treatment, because it worked to reverse all of these pathways in my brain that have been driving the addiction and get me to a place of controlled, moderate drinking, and then ultimately going alcohol-free somewhat by accident just because I lost interest in drinking. You can learn more about this treatment with my other videos or the link in my profile.